Big man ting, smash the like button and subscribe. Oh no. Big Larry Holmes, a true all-time great, has come out and slayed Deontay, the quitter, Wilder. Talk Sport reports the following. Larry Holmes, the man who toppled a finished Muhammad Ali, accuses Deontay Wilder of quitting and tells Tyson Fury he would knock him out. I'm not sure what he means by that, but anyway, let's get to the quotes. Wilder didn't train properly, or he overtrained because he had no energy, Holmes told Boxing Insider Radio. He has guys working with him in his corner that still need to take lessons in boxing. Wow, that's a roast. There's a lot of things that I thought he should have done, but he didn't do it. Breland needs to learn how to teach people. He didn't put any water on top of his head to keep him cool. Wilder is bleeding out of his ear and didn't put anything in there to get the blood out of there. Wilder probably had an equilibrium problem because of it. Just nobody was telling him anything. I would tell him, hey man, you got to jab. He doesn't know how to jab. He's got to learn how to throw punches and just get the guy out of there. He goes on to say, you think Ernie Shavers would have been out there and quit against Fury? Do you think Ali would have quit? No. Do you think Fraser would have quit? No. Do you think Kenny Norton would have quit? No. They would fight until you ain't got no fight left in you. But Wilder, he quit. Boom. Roasty.com. I feel a bit hot in here. This room's just got hella hot. Larry Holmes on a roasting session out here. Now, what do I think on this? I've been the one saying this from the top. These are the caliber of fighters. Now, I'm not a historian, so you have to bear in mind that I don't know every fight every fighter's had, but I do know bits and bobs. I do know we have seen Ali take a pummeling and come back. Wilder, there were no comeback. Or we have seen Ali just take shot after shot after shot and try and be gritty. There was no grit in Wilder. There was no throwing back. And that's what it came down to. There was no throwing back. There was no, I'm going to give you one, you're going to give me one. There was none of that in there. And that's what's merely missing in boxing today. A lot of fighters, most fighters these days, they're good at giving it out, but they don't really like to take it. They're very good at giving out. And that goes across the board, really. I'm trying to think. There ain't many fighters at all who really like to get stuck in these days. Give one and take one. But there's a lot of hammers out there. There's not a lot of people like being a nail. And Wilder's obviously been exposed as the biggest hammer going. He's very good at laughing at people after he's knocked them out and making jokes and talking about how he wants to catch a body. But when it came to being that smoky, he was nowhere to be found. All that smokiness, all that viciousness he thought he wanted no parts of it whatsoever. Yeah? He wanted no parts of it whatsoever. Didn't want none. Didn't want none of it, did he? Let's be real now. On a serious note, I'm trying to sit here and think. I can't remember Wilder throwing one shot when his back was against the ropes. Not one. All I remember him doing is doing what I told you he'd do. Put his earmuffs on. That ain't no good. And I've got to be, I hate to be unfair here, but Larry Holmes has had a go at Mark Breland. I think it's more Jay Diaz. Jay Diaz is the head trainer. But then again, Mark Breland's been an actual boxer. So I can see both sides here. Number one, the corner advice was awful. They never asked Wilder how he was. Wilder didn't even have a cut man in his corner. That's another thing. Wilder had so that's why they didn't fix the ear problem. He didn't bring one. This is how arrogant Wilder is. He thought he was anointed. I'm anointed by God. That's what he believed. And this goes to show you his whole thing's been exposed. If Wilder doesn't makes drastic changes in his team, he's going to come back the same fighter. All of his trainers are limited. All of them are. Even Breland is clearly limited because you've been with people. I hate hearing people like David Hay saying, "Oh, Wilder, Oh, he started late. Started late. He started in 2005. We're now 15 years later. Do you understand that? I don't get this whole starting late business. If you've been doing something for 15 years, you should pretty much know everything there is to know. Especially when you've been doing it at a professional level for 15 years, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? It's not like he's been doing it on a like how we do it, us casuals. We just kind of train a bit here and there. He's been a professional fighter for 15 years, and he doesn't know how to fight on the inside. He doesn't know how to throw back when he's on the ropes, or etc. etc. He doesn't know how to throw a jab. He doesn't know how to jab consistently. All these things that Larry Holmes is saying. Do you know what I mean? So clearly, yeah, Mark Breland was a fighter, but not all fighters make good trainers. And I'm sorry, but them two, Jay Diaz and Mark Breland, between them, when you look at Wilder, now that might be the case that maybe Wilder don't want to learn. Because I've seen Mark Breland walk off in frustration before. I think after the first fight, he stormed off in frustration. I think maybe Wilder's so arrogant, he just thinks, you know what, you're trying to teach me stuff, but I'm happy just to go in there and sling my right hand, because I'm anointed. However, that said, we have seen him on the pads throwing, I even did a video on it, we've seen Wilder on the pads throwing some good shots. We've seen Wilder on the pads stepping, slipping and banging left uppercut, left hook and whatnot, turning them over. But like we all know, it's one thing doing something in training, it's another thing doing it under the lights. And it's really what underpins all of this, what underpins everything that I've been talking about. Why Wilder doesn't throw any shots against the ropes, why Wilder doesn't dig deep. I think he chokes under the lights. I don't think he's in that top 1% of athletes who outperform under the lights. Floyd Mayweather, Michael Phelps, Tiger Woods or whatever. I don't think he's one of them athletes who gets it done. I think he's someone who chokes, and he's talked about it before. I've done videos on it. Wilder's come out and said before, after the first fight, I got anxious. That's why my right hand wasn't straight. And what do we know? In his second fight, it wasn't straight again. Whenever he did throw it, he was winging it again. I just don't think he knows how to handle the pressure, honestly. And I think that's what underpins a lot of this stuff. Not only does he have no technical proficiency, also, he don't know how to handle pressure. And arguably, I'll give him some credit in as much as it might be the case that he doesn't know how to handle pressure because he's not put in enough pressure situations. His team, like AJ for example, the reason AJ can handle pressure, his team put him in there at 15 fights against Dillian White, put him in there against Vlad after 17 fights or whatever it was. That there's like throwing a baby in the deep water. You'll swim or you won't. And that gives you real confidence. You don't get real confidence. Wilder deep down in his heart clearly knew that all this talk wasn't real. He clearly knew that the people he was fighting weren't all that. Because when it came to fighting a man his own level, supposedly, he didn't want to man up to it. He didn't want to rise to the challenge. Instead, he kind of sunk into himself, didn't he? He just quivered against the ropes. Which just goes to show that all that so-called manifestation he talked about was only good against people that he knew he can beat. When he came up against a man he wasn't sure about, he choked and swallowed. Yeah? Anyway, do I believe that Wilder quit? I wouldn't go far as quit, but I'd say that he choked. I'd say that he ain't got it. I'd say that he ain't a warrior, for sure. Quitting ain't fair. Quitting would be just like, I don't know. Yeah, Wilder didn't blatantly quit, but he ain't the warrior, that's for sure. You have to make, in sports, there's certain classifications. You've got quitter. You've got not a warrior. You've got warrior, you've got prepared to DIE. They're the kind of 4 stages. Wilder, on that kind of thing, is not a warrior. That's where he sits. He's not a warrior. He's just kind of that average person who, if he's on top, he's good when he's on top. He's an on-top fighter. If he's winning, he's alright. That's what kind of fighter he is. He hasn't proven he's a warrior. He could have done like he could have done. Even in losing, you can prove you're a warrior, because you can just go in there and start trading and whatnot. But anyway, listen. Larry Holmes, he's the all-time great. That's his opinion, and you can't knock it. He gave you good examples. He came in here and gave you good fundamentals. Wilder must change his team. He must do. Or he must start listening. I'm not sure which one it is, but they're going to have to work it out. And they haven't got long. Only a few months now. Tick tock, tick tock.